Welcome to my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.
Welcome back to our alley review series practice quiz, and this is now part 4 of our planning quiz. So instructions before proceeding with the quiz, it is best to get a piece of paper muna, cut lengthwise, and then write down numbers 1 to 30 so that when you are ready, you can now start with the quiz, and for every question, write down the corresponding letter of your best choice or answer from the multiple choice. And you will be given 10 seconds to finalize your answer. At the end of the quiz, count the total number of your correct answers and check your score rating. So if you are now ready, good luck. Number 1. He postulated that population increases in a geometric ratio while food production increased arithmetically, and that unless natural catastrophes, war, or social restraint control population increase, worldwide famine or war will follow. A. Von Thunen, B. William Alonso, C. Loudon Wingo Jr., and D. Robert Malthus. And our correct answer is letter D, Robert Malthus. So Robert Malthus is famous for his Malthusian theory of population, which states that population grows geometrically or exponentially. This one is shown here in a curving graph, while food supply grows arithmetically, this one linearly. So without checks like famine, disease, war, or moral restraint, population would outstrip food supply, leading to crisis. So itong point na nag-intersect yung graph ng population and the resources or food production, tatawag na Malthusian catastrophe. The food is just enough for the people. And after that period, wherein population is more than the food production, it will be the start of chaos. So number 2, the most frequent shape of a city, a large circle with radial corridors of intense development emanating from the center. A. Star, B. Radiocentric, C. Ring, and D. None of the above. And our correct answer is letter B, radiocentric. A radiocentric city is characterized by a central core with radial corridors or spokes of development extending outward, resembling a wheel with spokes. So ito yun. This pattern allows growth along main transportation routes radiating from the center, so as differentiated from a star and a ring. Number 3. It shall refer to areas designated principally for trade, services, and business purposes. A. Commercial, B. CBD, C. Built-up area, and D. None of the above. And our correct answer is letter B, CBD. So as per the HLURB CLUP guidebook, a central business district or CBD is defined as referring to areas designated principally for trade, services, and business purposes. So the role of the CBD is for shopping, entertainment, finance, banking, and offices. The CBD or central business district is focal point of a city. It is the commercial, office, retail, and cultural center of the city, and usually is the center point for transportation networks. So number 4, street provided to terminate a block for pedestrian use only. A. Alley, B. Setback, C. Road right-of-way, D. Secondary road. And our correct answer is letter A, alley. So an alley is a narrow street or passage that often terminates a block. and can be designated for pedestrian use only. It provides access to the rear of buildings and smaller lots. So according to BP 220, alley shall have a width of 2 meters, intended to break a block and to serve both pedestrian and for emergency purposes, both ends connecting to streets. It shall not be used as access to the property. So if you have 250 meters or more na block, you have to provide an alley. Number 5. This is the golden era of urban design in the US, characterized with a totally designed system of main circulation arteries, a network of parks, and clusters or focal buildings or building blocks of civic centers. A. New towns. B. Garden City movement. C. Broadacre. And D. City Beautiful. And our correct answer is letter D, City Beautiful. So the City Beautiful movement in the US late 19th to early 20th century emphasized grand urban design, featuring organized main arteries, park networks, and monumental civic centers to inspire civic pride and order. So ito yung naging outcome ng Columbian World Expo. Daniel Burnham is the one famous for the City Beautiful movement. Another city that was designed under the City Beautiful concept is the city of Washington DC. Number 6. Which of the following statements is not true? A. A total separation of vehicles and pedestrians is harmful for the development of a lively and active street. B. A street has a three-dimensional form which inhibits certain activities and make others possible. And C. According to Alberti, if the city is noble and powerful, streets should be designed widening rather than straight and broad, because this carries the air of greatness and majesty. Letter D. Increasing competition for the driver's attention has turned roadway signs into swirls of conflicting graphics and verbiage. And our correct answer is letter C. According to Alberti, if the city is noble and powerful, streets should be designed winding rather than straight and broad, because this carries the air of greatness and majesty. So that is a wrong statement, because Leon Battista Alberti, in his De Edificaturia, or on the art of building, actually recommended straight and broad streets for noble and powerful cities. He associated wide, straight avenues with order, grandeur, and majesty. Winding and narrow streets, on the other hand, he thought were more fitting for defensive purposes or for smaller, less prominent settlements. So the correct statement should be, according to Alberti, in a noble and powerful city, streets should be designed straight and broad, because this gives an impression of greatness and majesty. So letter A is a correct statement, because urbanists like Jane Jacobs, in The Death and Life of Great American Cities, argued that streets thrive when pedestrians and vehicles share space in a balanced way, because this mix creates activity, eyes on the street, and natural surveillance. Number 7. Responsible in the reconstruction of Paris, which imposed a new pattern of broad boulevards and great parks on the previous labyrinth street pattern. A. Le Corbusier. B. George Haussmann. C. Sir Barlow. And D. Daniel Burnham. And our correct answer is B. George Haussmann. So he was commissioned by Napoleon III in the mid-19th century to reconstruct Paris, replacing the medieval labyrinth of narrow streets with broad boulevards, open spaces, and large parks following the City Beautiful movement. This redesign improved traffic circulation, sanitation, and urban aesthetics, creating the Paris we recognize today. Number 8. An urban ecology process that occurred as early as the late 19th century in England and was attributable, among others, to the railway system, a mobile middle class, and the tendency to establish housing estates, model dwellings was A. Suburbanization, B. Gentrification, C. Sprawl, and D. Urbanization. And our correct answer is letter A, suburbanization. So suburbanization refers to the movement of people from central urban areas to the outskirts, often creating residential suburbs. In late 19th century England, this process was driven by number 1, the railway system, which enabled commuting. A mobile middle class seeking better living conditions, and third is the development of housing estates and model dwellings outside crowded city centers. So basically, ang suburbanization refers to the population shift from central urban areas into suburbs. Number 9, a plan that has been formulated to check immediate problems of a community on a short-term basis. A. Action-oriented, B. Comprehensive planning, C. CLUP, and D. Sectoral planning. And our correct answer is letter A, action-oriented. So an action-oriented plan is designed to address immediate or short-term problems in a community. It focuses on practical, implementable actions rather than long-term or broad strategic goals. At yung paborito ng mga politiko natin kasi gusto agad nila may pakita sa kanilang mga constituents na may ginagawa sila. Kaya ay naglipa ng iba't ibang klaseng mga ganyan, maliliit na projects. Kahit hindi naman kailangan talaga. Number 10, he wrote the book Image of the City. A. Friedman and Douglas, B. Ebenezer Howard, C. Kevin Lynch, and D. Raymond Unwin. And our correct answer is letter C, Kevin Lynch. So Kevin Lynch is the author of The Image of the City, a very famous book, a seminal work in urban design that explores how people perceive and navigate cities. He introduced key concepts such as paths, edges, districts, nodes, and landmarks to describe the mental maps of urban environments. Number 11, the elements of the human settlements. A. Nature, man, society, shells, networks. B. Nature, man, society, networks, hamlet. C. Nature, man, community, hamlet, networks. And D. Nature, man, community, shells, and networks. And our correct answer is letter A, nature, man, society, shells, and networks. So this is according to Konstantin Doxiadis in his book Acoustics, and the elements of human settlements include, in a proper order, number 1 is nature, the physical environment. Number 2, man, the human inhabitants, or anthropos here. Number 3 is society, the social structures and interactions. Number 4 will be the shells, buildings and shelters. And number 5 will be the networks or circulation systems like roads, paths, and utilities, or the connection between different settlements. Number 12, which of the following statements is true? A. Operable windows allow the natural ventilation to reduce the operation period of AC system during the mild season. B. Based on a given climatological condition, a logical planning or design response is unimportant. C. Fungi rarely thrive in warm, humid regions. And D. The need and benefits of protecting the natural environment can be considered minor consideration in site selection or planning. And our correct answer is letter A. Operable windows allow the natural ventilation to reduce the operation period of AC system during the mild season. So that is operable windows facilitate natural ventilation which can reduce reliance on air conditioning during mild weather, saving energy. So dito sa letter B, nakalagay kasi dito unimportant, no? So ang correct statement is planning and design must respond to climatological conditions for comfort and efficiency. And letter C, actually, fungi thrive in warm, humid regions, not rarely, no? And letter D, also, protecting the natural environment is a major consideration in site selection and planning. Hindi yun nakalagay sa choice na minor consideration. Number 13, secondary roads include A. Minor road, B. Boulevard, C. Avenue, and D. All of the above. And our correct answer is letter D, all of the above. So secondary roads are typically a class of roads that connect smaller towns and urban areas to primary roads like highways or interstates. They serve as important thoroughfares for local and regional traffic, but usually have a lower traffic capacity and a slower speed limit than primary roads. The terms minor road, boulevard, and avenue can all be used to describe types of secondary roads, although their specific definitions can vary by location and urban planning context. And number 14, under the Water Code of the Philippines, the use of banks of rivers, lakes, streams, and shores of seas throughout their entire length must have an easement of blank in agricultural areas, rural areas, where the building of structures of any kind is prohibited. A. 10 meters, B. 20 meters, C. 40 meters, and D. 3 meters. And our correct answer is letter B, 20 meters. So this is according to the Water Code of the Philippines. Urban areas will be 3 meters per side of waterway. Agricultural areas will be 20 meters and forest areas is 40 meters. Itong 10 meters applies to Pasig River, no? Because it is governed by a separate law. Number 15, an overlay method of mapping natural determinants used to determine the suitability of a particular site for prospective land uses. A. Site suitability, B. Site analysis, C. GIS, and D. sieve mapping. And our correct answer is letter D, sieve mapping. So sieve mapping involves overlaying different maps of natural determinants like soil, slope, water availability to identify areas suitable or unsuitable for particular land uses. It is the methodological approach. GIS provides a digital platform to overlay these layers efficiently, analyze spatial relationships, and produce maps showing suitability, constraints, or optimal land use. And site suitability is the purpose or outcome of such mapping, determining which areas are most appropriate for specific uses. Number 16. Which of the following statements is true? A. An isolated building is surrounded by structures. B. The physical Well-being and attitudes of people are directly affected by climate, and this in turn prescribe the planning needs. C. Combining cut and fill is considered the most expensive grading methods. And D. Monotony is not a common problem for roads using modified grids. And our correct answer is letter B. The physical well-being and attitudes of people are directly affected by climate, and this in turn prescribe the planning needs. So climate directly influences comfort, health, and human behavior, which guides planning and design decisions. Number 17, a type of restoration technique that preserves the object without direct intervention on its materials has something to do with preventing or avoiding agents of degradations of the object's fabric, function and form or appearance, and intrinsic values and attributes. A. Anastylosis. B. Static restoration. C. Substitution. And D. Quasi-restoration. And our correct answer is letter D, quasi-restoration. So quasi-restoration or dynamic restoration is a preventive approach that aims to preserve the object's integrity without direct intervention on its original materials. It focuses on avoiding or mitigating agents of degradation, protecting the fabric, function, form, and intrinsic values. On the other hand, static restoration is more about stabilizing the object in its current state, often physically. 18. Radburn represented a dramatic advance in community planning. It introduced the following except one. A. Houses were oriented towards the streets. B. Introduced the concept of the residential superblock. C. Introduced a hierarchy of roadways. And D. Deliberately separated pedestrian and vehicular traffic. And our correct answer is letter A. Houses were oriented towards the streets. So Radburn, that is in New Jersey in 1929, was a pioneering planned community that introduced a residential superblocks, that is large blocks designed for pedestrian safety, hierarchy of roadways separating local, collector, and arterial streets, and separation of pedestrian and vehicular traffic, pathways, and underpasses for pedestrians. Houses were actually oriented towards pedestrian paths or greenways, not directly towards the streets, which is why option A is the exception. So kung ito yung mga roads, yung mga bahay naka-orient facing these pathwalks, no? Ayan. Ito mga pathwalks ito leading to the interior, yung mga parklands na ito, at yan ang ginagawang pedestrian access going to other lots, na? So Radburn, New Jersey was done by Clarence Stein. Number 19, a survey technique used in moderate to large-scale projects involving understanding the genius loci as a key to charting the direction for future development. A. Historical analysis. B. Visual survey. C. Permeability analysis. And D. Townscape analysis. And our correct answer is letter A, historical analysis. So historical analysis involves understanding the genius loci or the spirit of the place, which provides the key to charting the direction for future development, and also peeling back the layers of history which encrust the modern city and revealing the reasons for its present form and function. On the other hand, landscape analysis is about the legibility of the urban structure, that is, ways in which people perceive, understand, and react to the environment. It concerns those qualities of a place which give it an immediate identity, one which is quickly perceived or grasped by its users. Also, it involves permeability of the environment, that is the choice it represents to the user. And lastly, it is about visual studies of the urban space, the treatment of facades, pavement, roofline, street sculpture, and an analysis of the complexity of visual detail which distinguishes one place from another. Number 20. Places and objects that are associated with an event, achievement, characteristics, or modification that present a turning point or stage in Philippine history. A. National monuments. B. National landmarks. C. Cultural properties. And D. Shrines. And our correct answer is letter B, national landmarks. Actually, according to RA 1066, National Cultural Heritage Act of 2009, the correct term is historical landmarks and shall refer to sites or structures that are associated with events or achievements significant to Philippine history as declared by the National Historical Institute. On the other hand, when you say historical monuments, these are structures that honor illustrious persons or commemorate events of historical value as declared by the NHI, and historical shrines shall refer to historical sites or structures hallowed and revered for their history or association as declared by the NHI. Number 21. The prominent visual feature of a city and seen at great distances to help define orientation and identify the area. A. Pathways. B. Landmarks. C. Edges. And D. Districts. And our correct answer is letter B, landmarks. So landmarks are prominent visual features that stand out in the urban environment. They can be seen from a distance and help people orient themselves and identify locations or districts. But also sometimes there are small landmarks, no? Like for example, mga water points, ayan, mga street pole. So these are the smaller landmarks. 22. Recommended maximum distance of residential area to health facilities as per CLWUPs planning standards. A. 3 to 4 kilometers. B. 4 to 5 kilometers. C. 0.5 to 2 kilometers. And D. 2 to 3 kilometers. And our correct answer is letter C, 0.5 to 2 kilometers. So the recommended maximum distance from residential areas to health facilities, according to some sources, not from CLWUPs, is 0.5 to 2 kilometers. However, acceptable travel distances vary, with many households in a specific study indicating that 0 to 5 kilometers is the maximum acceptable distance to a hospital, though national standards for primary care are often set at 5 kilometers. So baka itong 0.5 to 2 kilometers ay para sa mga health center, no? Kasi health, health facilities. So again, CLWUPs documents did not specify any maximum distance. 23. It combined the advantages of the town by way of access and all the advantages of the country by the way of the environment without any of the disadvantages of either. A. New urbanism. B. Garden cities. C. New towns. And D. Neighborhood unit. And our correct answer is letter B, garden cities. So the garden city concept, developed by Ebenezer Howard in the late 19th century, aimed to combine the benefits of urban life, that is access, jobs, commerce, with the benefits of rural life, green spaces, fresh air, low density. So this is the three magnets according to Ebenezer Howard. So we have the advantages of the town as well as its disadvantages. And we have also the advantages of the country and its disadvantages. And on the other hand, in his concept of the town country, this one will have the advantages of the town and the country, but without the disadvantage of the two. It was designed to avoid the disadvantages of both city congestion and rural isolation. So this is his diagram of the garden cities versus the central city connected by high-speed railway systems and bounded by greeneries. 24. A clearance issued to a project that is allowed under the provisions of the zoning ordinance as well as other standards, rules, and regulations on land use. A. Variance. B. Zoning clearance. C. Locational clearance. And D. Deed restrictions. And our correct answer is letter C, locational clearance. So a locational clearance is issued to a project that is permitted under zoning provisions and other applicable rules and regulations on land use. It ensures that the project is appropriately located with respect to environmental, social, and land use considerations. Number 25. A special type of bar chart that shows the distribution of a population by age and sex. A. Population projection. B. Population implosion. C. Population density. And D. Population pyramid. And our correct answer is letter D, population pyramid. It is a graphical representation of a population showing age groups, usually in 5-year intervals, on the vertical axis and population size or percentage on the horizontal axis, typically separated by sex. It helps analyze population structure, growth trends, and demographic challenges. So you will see that in developing countries, ito yung younger, no? Mas bata papunta sa mas matanda. Usually, developing countries, mas marami ang young population versus old population. But yung mga developed nations, makita nyo na halos parehas lang ang population ng bata versus matanda, no? Kaya nagkakaproblema ang mga ibang countries na mayayaman. Like for example, Japan, kaunti lang yung bata, mas marami yung mas older. Kaya ina-encourage nila yung magkaroon ng anak. Kasi there'll come a time na kaunti na lang ang matitira ng mga matatanda din, no? Kasi pakonti ng pakonti yung bata nila. Compared sa Pilipinas, napakadami ng mga bata. Number 26, early pioneer of the concept of nodal region, promoter of Garden City movement. A. Lewis Mumford. B. Raymond Unwin. C. Ebenezer Howard. And D. Barry Parker. And our correct answer is letter C, Ebenezer Howard. So I think na ito kanina, nabanggit na ito. So Ebenezer Howard was the pioneer of the Garden City movement, which proposed planned communities combining the benefits of city and countryside. He also introduced the idea of nodal regions, or self-contained communities or nodes surrounded by greenbelts. Ito yung mga greenbelts, which influenced modern urban planning concepts. Number 27, refers to all cities regardless of their population density and to municipalities with a population density of at least 500 persons per square kilometer. A. Highly urbanized city. B. Independent city, C. Component city, and D. Urban area. And our correct answer is letter D. Urban area. So according to RA 7279 or UNHA, the urban areas refers to all cities regardless of their population density and to municipalities with a population density of at least 500 persons per square kilometer. Number 28 refers to an area with at least 200,000 people and income of 50 million or more. A. Metropolitan area. B. Highly urbanized city. C. Component city, and D. Independent component city. And our correct answer is letter B. Highly urbanized city. So a highly urbanized city are cities that have at least 200,000 population and income of not less than 50 million. And it is also independent from any province, according to the RA 7160 or the Local Government Code of 1991. Meanwhile, independent component cities are cities with charters that specifically provides for their independence from any province. And component cities, cities which are under the supervision of the provinces. Number 29. Conditions of the site are the basis for harmony between the buildings and site. The building and large part of its success depends on its harmonious relation with nature. A. Deference. B. Extension. C. Geometric contrast. And D. Accent. And our correct answer is letter A, deference. So deference in architecture is the principle of a building showing respect and humility towards its surrounding site and nature. This is a fundamental concept in sustainable and context-sensitive design, where the building's form, materials, and placement are carefully chosen to complement rather than dominate the natural environment. It's about letting the conditions of the site guide the design to achieve a harmonious and successful relationship between the built and natural worlds. On the other hand, in architecture, extension refers to an addition or a new part built onto an existing structure. While it requires a harmonious relationship with the original building and site, it is a specific type of project, not a general principle for a building's relationship with nature. And number 30, what is the first university town? A. Vienna, B. Paris, C. Karlsruhe, and D. Versailles. And our correct answer is Vienna. So although some references would say it is Paris because the University of Paris is older, but in most planning references, Vienna is the one considered as the first university town. And that's it for our quiz. Congratulations for completing the quiz. Now, count your total correct answers and determine your score category. If your rating is 15 or less, it is time for a more strategic review.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.
Enroll at Atlas CDC Review for a comprehensive prep for the Architecture Board exams. Message us now.